welcome to Commodities Landscape, and today we are discussing the pre-budget expectations. While the Finance Minister has said that this budget is going to be responsible, and also if you look at the latest report that has come in from the International Budget Presentation or IBP, it says that India ranks nearly 14 among the 100 countries who present budget. But today we are going to talk about the budget expectations and the commodity markets on what they are seeking out as their wish list. Joining us on the panel then is Mr. Vijay Kumar. He is CBO and CDEX. Also joining us is Madan Sabnavis. He is Chief Economist, CARE Ratings. I also have with me Mr. D.K. Agarwal. He is SMC Global Chairman. And also joining us is Sanjay Sancheti. He is Country Head, OLAM. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the show. Mr. Vijay Kumar, I would want to start with you really. As of now, there are no taxes on the commodity futures trading, but there is this huge talk of CTT coming on in this budget. How much do you think there's an expectation of that coming in?
From a hedging perspective, certainly any taxes add to costs. So one of the things to maybe consider is to figure out whether hedgers can be exempted from the tax if at all it is imposed. So I think we'll have to wait and look at it. One of the key, I think, considerations is that when 10 years earlier commodity exchanges were started, they were triggered basically to allow hedging in commodities where the value chain participants face risk. So I think as long as that process continues and builds, we should be fine.
Mr. Agarwal would want to take your reaction on the same as well. There is an STT, so is that the reason that CTT is justified in the markets? Yeah,
well, there has been a lot of talk about the imposition of CTT. But we have to understand that commodities futures, it is a risk management tool. And if we increase the cost of hedging or cost of risk management, then it is very counterproductive. So what I believe that the better sense would prevail, and I really believe that Honorable Finance Minister would not take any step like imposition of CTT. And even we have to understand that this commodity future is in a very nascent stage. And you know, there are a lot of risk management instruments which are yet to come with the passage of the Forward Contract Regulation Amendment Bill. So I believe that this is not called for, and we have to really look at that this is not a platform for mobilization of funds, rather this is a platform for risk management. There are a lot of hedgers, a lot of corporates who are hedging their risk. They are basically using these commodity futures. And otherwise also, if you see that a lot of agriculture commodities are traded, this CTT would have the impact of increasing the cost. And since in a contract, there are a number of buys and sells. So if you see the cumulative cost of trading, it will go up substantially. And we are already suffering with the high inflation. So any move to impose CTT would be a very, I'll say, suicidal move. And I believe and I really feel that Finance Minister would not take such a step.
Well, the consensus right now is that the Finance Minister will avoid getting CTT into the markets, but there is a huge talk about it, so just getting the point out of the way. Madan, what's your view? Because a lot of farm commodities are taxed in any case in the spot markets. Taking it that on the future side as well, how justified is that really?
No, I think there are two ways of looking at it, Manisha. One is that whether we should be having the tax, and second is whether we're going to have the tax. Now, whether we're going to have the tax, the answer to my mind is yes, because the Finance Minister is looking at all avenues for raising revenue. And if we have some justification for having an STT, because I think that's also being debated by the securities market, whether at all we should be having an STT. If I have an STT, I can have a CTT, I can have a Forex transaction tax. I mean, logically, it follows that we can be having all these kind of taxes. Now, the thing is that this discussion did come up even earlier. It was felt that the futures market, commodity futures market is still in a nascent stage. But I think after 10 years, we can't really say that we're in a nascent stage. And second, I think the issue which was raised about saying farm products, I think when 90% of my trading is taking place in non-farm products, and there's no real price discovery taking place within the country, there's obviously prima facie reason for us to have a CTT, and I think the Finance Minister will probably go on those lines, saying that let's have a CTT on non-farm products. And the issue which was being raised by Vijay about hedgers, I think there are always ways in which we could separate the hedgers and make sure they get a refund or are exempted from the CTT. So on the whole, I think it's a fairly good move. It will be a good move in case the finance minister does use CTT. We have the caveats put there saying I'm not going to look at the hedgers, I'm not going to look at farm products. And I think there'll be a good amount of revenue for the finance minister to raise.
Mr. Vijay Kumar, to start with, how would you want to react to what Madan is saying? And also, there also is an argument that if the CTT does come in, you would see volumes going down, and the whole purpose of generating revenues, perhaps from this side, may not happen.
I think the first thing that's required under in the budget is to permit offsetting hedging positions on the futures market, those gains or losses to be offset against corresponding physical gains or losses. So we are talking about a 30% tax on a profit made on the futures market being imposed on hedgers. Now, if the primary purpose of commodity markets was hedging, then I think that needs to be addressed first. I think this has been repeatedly requested, and that's a significant tax. The CTT is certainly a very small tax, and maybe there are different ways of looking at where it should be charged and where it shouldn't be, or to what extent it is chargeable on, for instance, as pointed out. If we are looking at gold and others as non-essential commodities which this country doesn't require, or we need to mitigate speculative trading in those commodities, then there are, apart from CTT, there are other ways of doing it as well. For instance, we could look at high margins on products like gold, for instance. So that, I mean, there are various ways of lowering speculative transactions or taxing those transactions as well. But I think far more important than CTT is the issue of permitting offsets of hedging losses or gains against physical losses or gains.
Mr. Sancheti, what's your sense coming in for CTT, and how would that impact your day-to-day business in India?
See, this is an additional tax on a very thin margin business. So this is definitely going to hit volumes in some ways or the other, because this is a business which normally works on a margin of 1 to 1.5%. And if you have an additional tax which is eating into that kind of a thin margin, I think I'm sure it would affect volumes.